and to transform the world. Universalism means that no one is outside of the circle of love and no one is disposable.
No one is outside the circle of love, and no one is disposable.
We stubbornly seek out the spark of the divine in each other, no matter what. Interdependence means none of us is truly free until we are all free, and our thriving is bound up in the earth's thriving.
None of us is truly free until we are all free.
We struggle for liberation from the violence of white supremacy, sexism, ableism, classism, and homophobia. Our covenants mean we make promises to our communities to honor love and justice above all else.
We make promises to honor love and justice above all else.
If you have a chalice in your home, I invite you to take it and light it along with me. I have only a battery-operated candle here this morning, but this chalice is one we made with our first chalice class at FPC a few years ago. And these words are also basically by Elizabeth Nguyen as interpreted by Erika Hewitt. To be a Unitarian Universalist means we'll never be done with the work of telling the truth about oppression, the work of resisting any laws, policies, or practices that deny anyone their humanity, the work of stubbornly seeking out the spark of the divine within each other, no matter what, the work of creating heaven on earth. To be a Unitarian Universalist also means we're not alone in the work. We are not alone because of our promises to love one another. We are not alone because we are companions on the journey to grow ourselves into allies, helping one another get free, because none of us is truly free until we are all free. We honestly had already planned to repeat last week's opening hymn as this week's opening hymn because we enjoyed it so much last week, and we know you did too. So the great news is we have it on video from last week. This is One Foot in Front of the Other, Lead with Love. Sing along.
Wow. And with that, let us remain arisen in body or in spirit as we say together our covenant and our affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
This last couple of years, we've been beginning our services with a land acknowledgement, with a recognition that we stand on native land, or sit in this case. Most of us probably are, like me. The work we did, Trek and I, in going to Minneapolis to be part of the clergy call to the city of Minneapolis this week really was incredibly rooted in recognition of the history of the land and in leadership of the Native American peoples there, in grounding us in this space and in this place and in this time. One of the things we learned right up is that for the Dakota people, the place where they believe the genesis of the world happened is where these rivers meet in Minneapolis. And you can see the muddy river of one river and the clear river of the other come together at this point. And as they come together, there's a division of the waters that then blend and merge. From that corner of the river, you can see the buildings that have been built in the centuries since. And one of the ones that stands up proud and tall is one of the earliest church built in that area as part of the colonization of that land. From that, you can see a direct line to Fort Snelling, which has a deep and horrible part of the history of the genocide of Native peoples in that land. And from there, you see a direct line from that church of colonization to Fort Snelling, to the Whipple building, which is where the detention center is for people who are being detained and imprisoned by ICE. And it was made very visible and visceral to us that Genesis, the beginning of our history, there's a straight line through the genocide and to the now, where genocide continues. In the Dakota faith, they say, Mitayuke Ayasin, which I don't say well, so my apologies for not getting it perfect. I learned it from the Lakota people who say it somewhat differently than the Dakota people, and so I'm still mixing up my pronunciation. But what it means is we are all related. And so as we do the work in our own community of understanding our relationship to the earth and to the Native peoples who were here first in this part of the world, we must remember we are all related. And the work of understanding the arc of history and of repair of the world has only just begun. We were in such a rush to move the service online that I did not have a chance to check in with our religious educator, Rayla. Originally, this Sunday was prepared to be a children's chapel Sunday. And so that meant that we would not have a message for all ages. But I wanted to just give Rayla a chance to have the platform right now in the service where we would normally have a message for all ages if we were not having children's chapel, and see if there was anything Rayla wanted to say today. And Rayla, if you don't have anything prepared, that is okay, because I did not check in with you. This is what happens when we go online very quickly. I thought I saw Rayla here earlier. Oop, we lost her.
I think we lost her completely, but she'll
Rayla.
probably be back.
Yeah. Greet your neighbor, everyone. Say hi. Wave. Good to have us all together here. Ah, here's Rayla's in the waiting room. I'm going to hit admit. You hit co-host Kim.
You should be able to unmute yourself.
Oops. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I had to switch to my phone. My kitten decided that she needed to unplug everything and turn off stuff. So I no longer have Wi-Fi for the moment. But Lindsay and I were chatting about what we wanted to do this morning with the children. And do we want to have them go into a breakout room? Do we want to have a chapel with them? And I figured it's snowing, like massively snowing, and they're probably going to sleep in. So we decided if we saw any little faces here that we would pop into a breakout room and check in with them. But Lindsay and I are in touch with our younger ones, and sad that we can't have chapel, but Lindsay and I are glad to be here with you all this morning.
So let's do this. If there are any little ones who are here, hit the raise hand on your React options, and we will form a breakout room for time for religious education together. And while we're doing that, let me pull up. We can start our time for, I think what's next is Joys and Sorrows. So in your order of service, and I think the order of service is usually linked on our webpage if you don't have it, but in our order of service, it says that Joys and Sorrows are being led by Ann W, but they are actually being led by Ann S today. So I'm going to invite her to share any that she's received by email, and then you all are invited to unmute and share your joys and sorrows.
Good morning. My name is Anne Sadler, as Cindy said, and I'm one of a team of folks who help Reverend Cindy with pastoral care. And if you need to get in touch with us, you will find an email link in the order of service. Okay, then we'd like to light two more virtual candles, one for the cost of war, and the final candle for those joys and sorrows that are unspoken but remain in our hearts.
Our words for prayer or meditation this morning come from our UUA president, the Reverend Dr. Sofia Betancourt. She wrote these in response to the death yesterday of Alex Pretty. And she was with us there in Minnesota. So I'm not sure if she's still there or if she's returned. These are by the Reverend Dr. Sofia Betancourt. God of many names and one abundant love. On this day, as we once again grieve in horror at the mindless and morally bankrupt murder of yet another observer in South Minneapolis, help us to stay connected to one another. Help us prepare our resistance for the long haul. Keep the strains of protest songs alive in our hearts for the coming weeks, months, and years. We will sing together until our songs are songs of victory and our children know themselves to be safe and whole. Blessed be. Amen. Ashe. Let's take a moment in silence and then sing together Spirit of Life.
Hi, Ming.
And I should say, we hold in our hearts all those joys and sorrows that are left unspoken, that they too are lifted up in beloved community. And we remember on this day, as with every other, the ongoing cost of war and our hearts longing for peace in all its forms. Blessed be. Amen. Spirit of Life.
Okay.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the winds, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
In place of a reading today, I have a slideshow for you of some pictures from the clergy call that Trek and I responded to go to Minneapolis. So I'm going to take a moment here to share screen and share those with you. I did not take a lot of pictures, as I'll explain. When Trek and I first got to Minneapolis, one of our first conversations, as you might expect, was with a coffee shop owner. And when we talked with that coffee shop owner and said we were from out of town and that we were clergy there, she asked us if we thought she should close on Friday. There was a call for businesses to close for a work stoppage and for also like a buy nothing day on Friday. And she didn't want to take a stand as a business, but she also wanted to stand with her community. And so we talked with her about our feelings about it, but also empowering her to make her own decisions and that whatever she did and needed to do was okay. And so this is the sign from that coffee shop on Friday where we could not get coffee. As we got to the clergy call, we were asked to not take photos of anyone or anything that would identify where we were or who was with us because we could not assure safety, and it is dangerous there right now. So everyone in this photo is clergy from Massachusetts, UU clergy specifically from Massachusetts, who were at dinner together one of the nights and who said as they got in this photo, we consent to having our images shared on social media and in the press. So this was the more jovial picture, you know, like silly, as opposed to the more serious one we took earlier. One of the things that we had an opportunity to do was to make a pilgrimage from the George Floyd Memorial to the site where George Floyd was murdered, to the site where Renee Good was murdered. And so that's something we did. It was a bitter cold that day. It was like 10 to 20 degrees below zero. And when you see, I had heard in the news how close they were, but when you see how close they are, and when you make your body make a line from one to the other, it is palpable, the connection between these two deaths, that these are not unrelated. We are all related. These deaths are related. Across the street from the George Floyd Memorial is a gas station that you may have seen on fire back in the day. It's a remnant of a gas station now. You see across the top, it says, "Where there are people, there's power." And what used to say something like Speedway now says People's Way. A group of community members gather there daily, and they had gathered there that day to share coffee together and talk. And we were privileged to stand and talk with them for a while and to sing with them and to hear their stories. And here you can see a little bit more of that gas station from the view from the memorial. The sign now says "People over Property." And this is a couple more shots of parts of the George Floyd Memorial. There were a lot of words written all over this space that said things like power and tranquility and evolution and freedom and vibration. And that just made it clear that this memorial is a memorial to a person who was brutally killed, but it is also a place where we are proclaiming our truth, proclaiming our freedom, proclaiming that. And there were a lot of other people's names who were killed by police, Black people killed by police, whose names were also around in this memorial, making the connection clear. As you get to George Floyd Square from each direction, there's a fist statue that you pass in the street. So this is the one we drove past as we were exiting. Couple more shots. This is a picture of three of us who were in a pod together. All the clergy were asked to create pods of clergy who would keep in touch with each other and know what's going on with each other, so that if anything happened to any of us, there would be other people who knew where we had been and what was going on. So these are the three of us who came together over to these memorial sites, Trek and myself and one other. When you get to the Renee Good site, which I saw this laying in the snow, a sign that someone had dropped on the corner and left there. Mother, poet, musician, I'm not mad at you, dude. Renee in Good, U.S. citizen. And some of you may have seen the pictures of the ICE agent with this dinosaur behind him. Since I couldn't take pictures of people for you, I took a picture of the dinosaur. Here's a bunch of backs of people. When we went to the memorial, there were a lot of police there that day because they were opening the street. And the people in the community were protesting the opening of the street because this is a holy site, they said. Native American Leaders were there smudging the space, purifying it, protecting it, as this holy site is going to be hit by the slush and snow and muck as cars now drive closer to it. So those are pretty much all the photos I took, although there's hundreds more I can gather over time from my clergy colleagues. But I wanted to share just a few of those images with you today. And I think Trek's going to share some more when he shares his words in a bit. What I want to say to you now as we go into our anthem is that this was dangerous. It was made really clear to us how dangerous it is for the people of Minneapolis. And forgive me if I ever say the word Milwaukee. I spent 2 years in Milwaukee, and all the Midwest is a heartland and a homeland for me. And I keep like mixing up my Michigan, Milwaukee, Minnesota, Minneapolis words in my head today as I, in my exhaustion and in my love for these spaces. So when we were in Milwaukee, it was clear that this is a dangerous time, that sharing people's names, images, locations on social media is dangerous to them. Because of this, we are asking everyone in this Zoom room to identify yourselves, turn on your cameras if you are able, and put your true name in your naming. We've allowed renaming. If you don't know how to do this, message our hosts. If you do not do this, there will be a point shortly where we will be removing you from this service so that we can talk more freely to our community here about the work that we did and the work that is to come. So we're asking for your identities to be clear and known, because we don't know. Trek and I have been open on social media at our own risk that we went and served this call. That puts us at risk. And so that does mean that there could be ICE agents in this Zoom community right now, and who are looking to find out more about the people of Minneapolis. And we do not want to put them at risk. So please identify yourselves. And if not, you will be removed during the anthem. And so I also want you to know that there will be a point shortly where we will pause recording for those same reasons so that this will not go on Zoom. And meanwhile, thank you all for being here and for understanding this, that like these are difficult times. And with that, we will have our morning offering and anthem, and you may donate to the work of this community and to the organization that we plate share with this month, which I believe is Bridges to Malawi, which is an awesome organization which needs help in one of the poorest countries of the world, that is no longer getting the kind of support from our government it once did, and which has been nominated for our plate share by one of our young adults who cares passionately about it, having been there and worked with the people herself. So if you are able, please give online. You may also put a check in to you may also put a check in the mail or drop cash extra in the plate next week. Thank you very much.
In these days full of fear, when the future's so unclear, when our best, even our best, may not suffice, we take a breath and start again. We reach for hope, we face the pain, and we give thanks, we offer thanks in these hard times. We give thanks in hard times for the hope that we find.
time they take a stand, they bring healing to the land, and we give thanks, we offer thanks in these hard times, in these days full of rage, full of violence uncontained, when we feel that there's no way to ease our minds. We take a breath and start anew. We reach for peace in all we do, and we give thanks, we offer thanks in these hard times. We give thanks in hard times for the peace that we find in the silence that we hold within our hearts. Every time we seek that guide, there is healing deep inside, and we give thanks, we offer thanks in these hard times, in these days full of hate, when the cruelty seems too great, when we feel all we can do is be resigned. We take a breath and start once more. We live so love will be restored, and we give thanks, we offer thanks in these hard times. We give thanks in hard times for the love that we find in the daily acts of kindness all around. Every time our caring shows, we bring healing as we go, and we give thanks, we offer thanks in these hard times. We give thanks, we offer thanks in these hard times.
Thank you so much, Chris, and thank you, Trevor. It is such a joy that we have such a wonderful music staff here at FPC that has pivoted on a dime and made worship really possible for us today. That was such a great message. We have two people we're still trying to identify in the list of participants here today. So I'm going to pause for a moment so that I can check in with our Zoom hosts on how we're doing. It looks like Jim, do you know how we're doing?
Let's have one, and it doesn't look like she knows how to change her name, but she's showing her face, so we're probably good.
Okay. Did the person who was listed as XX change name or leave? Do we know?
Yes, they texted me, and they're a guest from UCMH, and we have their name.
Okay.
So we're good with everybody now.
Great. Thank you. Okay.
We should stop
Thanks
recording.
for understanding and helping with the extra security levels here, everyone. Now that we've identified you, if you want to go back to having your camera off, you're welcome to. I understand that sometimes, especially when we're on Zoom, we're like, oh, I didn't wash my hair this morning and I'm still in my PJs. I don't want to show myself. So we appreciate your your participation and cooperation with us, and apologize that that was necessary today.